Hello. It is Thursday, which means it's stamp day. And so when I see my first viewer pop on, I will begin officially, as I always do. So, we just had Labor Day this weekend. How cool is that? We are now into what we call the Burr months. And these are my favorite months. I think I love the colors, the foods, the smell, the change of the leaves. I like September. And I see I have a couple people popping on. So I am going to officially begin with good Thursday morning and welcome to Seeing Ink Spots. Excuse me. Sorry about that. All of a sudden I had a tickle in my throat. Thank you for being here. Today's class is called Upstyle Your Paper Pumpkin, and I'm going to be creating alternative cards using the Farmhouse Florals Paper Pumpkin Kit from August of 2025. So, hello Marlene, and hello to everybody who has popped on. And I just am glad that you are here. For some reason, my camera is like wanting to keep wiggling all over the place. So I'm making you a little seasick here. Pretend you're on a cruise. All right. So cool, Marlene. I'm thinking you're saying me too, that you love the fall season. It's rich and abundant of saturated jewel tones. I just love it. Hello, Terry. All right. So I think that we should begin and we're going to have some fun. I think I have 6 cards planned. And some of them are quick and simple, and some of them are going to take a while. So we'll see how far we get. And my thing, I need to tighten up my machine here. Sorry, my stand. It's like wiggling all over the place. We'll see if we can have it better for what we're going to do here. Okay, there's my work surface. Now let's tighten some stuff up here. See if we can't help it not be so wiggly. All right, bear with me. I'm trying to get it so that it's flat. One of these days I'll get a webcam and we'll have 2 views and I can just easily toggle back and forth. But for now I'm low key. How's that? Okay. Let's see here. Okay. We are ready to begin with a little bit of business. Good morning, Jan. Glad to have you here. We'll start with, let's see what we have here. Next week. Now, this is a different class from any class that I have done before. Typically, all of my classes for the rest of the month are held in the Backstage Pass, which is a VIP group that anybody can belong to. You just need to ask me how, and I'll tell you. But I'm doing something a little different. Next week's class will be a live Zoom session, which I will record and post in the Backstage Pass, so you can see it later on. But this is going to be a mystery Stampin' session. Hello, Claire. Howdy. Anyway, this is going to be what you're going to do. You're going to bring your own supplies. I am going to be bringing my Florals in Bloom Sweet Collection, okay? So you pick a sweet collection or a bundle and paper that you want to combine it with, and just chop along with me and we'll make some cool cards. It's going to be a lesson in how to really use our catalogs as a tool, as a resource for stretching our stamping abilities, our stamping, that just will take us to a kind of a different place than where we would normally stamp, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to use Florals in Bloom. This will be a Zoom session, as I mentioned. You will, if you're not a member of the Backstage Pass and you want to attend this, just shoot me a message. You can leave a message here in the comments, or you can shoot me an instant message through Facebook, and I will get back with you and give you the Zoom number and password, okay? So these are the stamp sets that I'll be using. It's a mega suite. You don't need a mega suite. You can use a regular suite. But this one doesn't have greetings, so I'm bringing this one in. So I'm going to use this one. It will be kind of a last hurrah to summer. But that's going to be a fun class. You'll want to attend because, like I say, it's going to stretch your stamping outlook. All right. And at the same time, there are prizes. So you're going to want to be present for prizes. How fun is that? Okay. This month's Technique Time class is called Floral Charm. So I will be using the Charming Day bundle. So you will need this bundle and I'll provide the rest. Well, you'll need your ink pads and your Stampin' Cut and Boss machine, but I will provide all of the consumables. Your papers will be pre-cut, scored. Any die cuts that are not a part of this will be included. And it's going to be really, really pretty. I've mentioned before that I'm going to lean towards the fall palette in this sweet collection. So sign up for this class and that will make you a member of the Backstage Pass. It's that easy. There are 3 ways to sign up for this class. One, you can, if you're in the United States, you can purchase a kit that will be shipped right to your door for $37. And it will include everything you need, like I said, and it will give you lifetime pass in the Backstage Pass. There's also the PDF version for those outside of the United States. And you'll need to register by September 17th. The third way you can get this is by earning it for free with a purchase through my demonstrator number, through me. You'll purchase, if you have a $50 purchase, you will get the Floral Charm Global Ink Collective tutorial bundle. With a $75 purchase, you're going to get that tutorial bundle and this class for free. So that's a great bargain there. So you get the class and then the bundle. So now I'm doing something a little bit different this month, and that is I'm offering some add-on classes with the Floral Charm. So what will happen is I will ship the next 2 class kits with this one. That way you're going to save on shipping. The next 2 class kits are for my Upstyle Your Paper Pumpkin in a month. It's going to be a string up class, and string up meaning I'm going to create a garland that you're going to string it up across your mantle or over a mirror or wherever you would like. And it's going to feature the Fall for Toile. You'll need your kit. I will provide the rest. So the add-on for this, I can't remember. I can't remember what it is. It's on my blog. All of the information's there. It's also on, I've posted it just earlier this week here in the my business page and also in the Backstage Pass. So if you need more information, shoot me a comment. I will help you out. The other class that you can add on, and you don't have to add both. You can add one or the other, or both, or whatever combination you want. The next one will be a Halloween themed garland that I'm calling a string up. And it will, you will need any Halloween stamp set and matching dies or a punch. You'll need some stamps and dies. I will provide the rest. And so that will be a fun class. And that will be on the 16th of October. So, but the thing is, if you want the savings, you have to register for this class or by the time of this class so that I can ship them all at the same time. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Just trying something a little bit different. And I just, I thought, hey, let's make a really beautiful fall garland that will be great for Thanksgiving for all of that good stuff. And then let's do a fun Halloween one for prior to that. Okay, one last announcement. And that is I have a camp coming up in November. I call my stamp camps Studio Ink Spots. And this is going to be a 4-day event. It'll be Wednesday through Saturday, and Saturday will be a full session. The weeknights are just in the evenings, but this is going to be fun. We're going to be using the pine tree trimmings and a whole bunch more stuff that will all be surprises that will be part of this camp. And slightly different format than what I've done in the past, but it's going to be fun. You are going to love it. So look for details of that coming soon. All right, so on with the show. Today is all about the Farmhouse Florals Paper Pumpkin Kit. How many of you have busted open your kit and kind of looked through it? Have you made any cards? What are your thoughts? I think the pieces are just super, super cool. I'm loving it. So let's see. For our first project, let me grab my pieces that we're going to use. Okay, let me get this out of here. We don't need that anymore. And so we are going to start with a Post-it note. You're like, oh, okay. And we're going to start, you're going to need one of the bags, okay? And so take your Post-it note, and wherever the sticky end is, I'm going to put the bottom here at the sticky end, okay? And I'm going to trace this bag here with a pencil. And the whole purpose behind this card, I mean, I love the way they have it where they've got it popped up and you add more things. I'm kind of stretching the contents with this approach, with this card. But now you're going to cut to the inside, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you're going to cut just inside of that pencil line. Okay? And I have one completed already, so you don't have to sit here and watch me do that a bazillion times. Or, you know, sit there and watch me cut out a Post-it note. And what we're going to do is we're going to take one of the cards, the card bases here. Hi, Terry. Oh, Terry, hello, hello. So happy to have you on for a minute or two, or the whole time. Okay, so the reason I cut this out is because I'm going to put a Post-it note on here so that I can do the stamping that they have designed. Okay, so that way, like I say, I'm stretching the elements of the kit. I'm going to use the background image just like they showed. And I'm going to use, because this card, I'm using the elements from the kit. So this is the little secret C spot. I always try to start out simple, and by the end, we're going to go full out, artfully avid. Okay, and now I'm going to stamp one time. So I'm just kind of masking over the bag. And I'm going to ink up and stamp again. And I'm going to align. Now this image, this is really a smart image, the way they have it set up. Align that, stamp that, just like that. It's easy to do some repeat stamping with that. But now what I've done is just kind of, you know, instead of using all the bag elements on this card, I'm kind of, you know, now I can get two cards with the bag, if you know what I mean. And not that I have to stretch it all the time, but it is fun to kind of make a few extra things, right? Okay, so some of the other things I want to use, I'm going to use one of the little tags from the kit here. We're going to do a slightly different layout. I have a couple of the flowers here from the kit. I've already put some dimensionals on the back. I think I was doing that so I could see what it was going to look like. And then I am bringing in the Circle of Season dies that match last month, this month, and next month's Paper Pumpkin Kit. And for this card, I grabbed a scrap of old olive cardstock, and I'm using just this little kind of oak leaf die. And so I've got a couple of those cut out. I might only need one, I might need another one, but I have some. I also have some extra pieces on hand. I kind of just keep things, you know, it's like I already have things divvied up, but those are my leftovers. So there's that die. What a fun little packet of dies. All right, so these are the pieces that I'm going to need. What I want to do is stamp my little greeting here. And there are several images that are, you know, there's the Just a Note, You Are Loved. I really like that one, and that's the one I picked up. So I'm going to use that. So here's You Are Loved with the secret C. And I'm just going to squish this in here. Cute. Oh, the Y kind of got punched off a little bit, but that's okay. You can still read it. And I'm going to take the linen thread from the kit here. Let's see, where's the end? And we'll just run this through and tie a bow. And so they have it kind of hooked off the handle here, which is really, really cute. I love it. So at the end of today, I'm actually going to show you some, I have some other cards that I've done ahead of time, kind of finishing up using most of the pieces from the kit. And I'll share those with you. And I have kind of done that layout because it's just cool. I'm like, why change a good thing? And here I'm changing it. All right, so this is such fine linen thread. It's a little thinner than the other stuff. Okay, so just a little bow off of this. Just a little accent piece. Whoa, all right, I just about knocked over my little jar of tools, but I saved it. Okay, hello, Kayleen. Okay, so there's my piece there. And basically all I'm going to do is add, I'm going to pretty much kind of follow what they have here, but I have one of the single flowers and I'm just going to add some dimension up in here on the card. So we'll take that dimensional backing off and we'll just kind of add that one right there. And then this one here, I'm going to put it down on the ground as a little accent. So we'll just kind of right like that. And then this piece is also going to go on with dimensionals. Holy moly. I left all of my dimensionals in the other room, except for this obnoxious sheet. This is like really puffy dimensionals. Oh well, and there's no minis here. So we'll just be making our own minis. Excuse the delay of game. Okay, so let me just use this piece right here. This long, narrow piece we'll just put right here, just like that. And so I'm just going to kind of add this right in there with that little greeting. I think I got some ink on my card there. That's a bummer. And then I'm just going to add a couple leaves in here, and maybe this one's going to tuck in there, or maybe I'll just do one, or maybe I'll do another one right there to cover up my smudge. But I'm just going to do these with a little bit of glue. Okay, and I'm going to kind of curl them with my fingers just a little bit to create some what I call organic dimension. So in other words, if I glue it but I have a little bit of a curl to it, it kind of has its own little bit of dimension. Yeah, and so we're adding a second leaf. It wasn't in my original plan, but that's okay. This is just a simple, slight variation to the original. And I'm going to add one, two, a couple more things to the card. I'm trying to get this to glue, to catch. Where did the leaves come from? That is a great question, Kayleen. The leaf is a die from the Circle of Season. There it is. Let me find it. This little leaf that I can't, there it is, right there. So these are the dies that coordinate with last month, this month, and next month's paper pumpkin. They're called Circle of Seasons. So it has the strawberry, the hello, the acorn, the flower, which we're going to use. Now, I said I'm going to add a few more things to this, and one of the things we're going to add a little bit of Cajun Craze and Mossy Meadow. I'm going to do just the light splatter on this to enhance the natural flecks that are already here. And I'm going to add a greeting. So I'm going to add the greeting that says, always here for you. You are loved. Okay. So this is a cute little pick-me-up card. And I think this just fits right down in here so sweetly. Okay. So, and it kind of fills out that top portion of the card, especially since I had to add this leaf here to cover up my goof, my smudge. But I also like the way it kind of adds it, you know, everything kind of falls right down this page. So, and I love the font on this, the handwritten font, I think is really fun. So just a little bit of Mossy Meadow here. I'm going to use my bone folder. And I'm kind of aiming for the whiter spots of the card. Okay, so that was Mossy Meadow. This is, I just grabbed one, light Mossy Meadow. It doesn't matter. It's all a preference, what you prefer. Okay, and we'll just do a little Cajun to really pick up the flowers. And Stella, she is here. She's been invited to the party. And so on some of these key flowers, I'm just going to hit a little bit of, there we go, just a little bit of that extra sparkle. So keeping it simple and sweet is always how we start our Upstyle class. So just a slight variation on this one. Okay. It's what I call a stretching card. Stretching the supplies. All right. Card number 2. We're going to kind of do the same thing, but we're going to venture out just a little bit more. And for this card, we're going to use, to me, this, I don't know, let me ask if you guys, this one is so, I love this card. I mean, the typewriter card just, you know, this is my favorite one. How about you guys? Smudges are embellishment opportunities. Okay, Jan, that's great. And it's a hand signature, right? It's definitely made by me. That is my thumbprint, or that is my smudge. Kayleen, you loved the flecked cardstock they used. I do too. And yeah, people were asking, why are there black flecks in my card? Yeah, I loved the natural cardstock. They had it in white and ivory. Oh, yeah, there was the naturals, and then there was also confetti cardstock. Okay, so we're going to do something a little fun. I'm going to bring out my paper piercing pad, and I'm going to bring out the piercer from my Take Your Pick tool, and I am going to put a hole, okay, right at where the background, I'll kind of point right there. So where the background and the typewriter meet. I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the linen thread, and hopefully I have enough of the linen thread left. I've been using it on a bunch of things. Yeah, I have enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue, and I'm going to put some glue on the end here. You don't need a ton. Okay. I've just kind of got a big dot of glue. There we go. It wasn't sticking. And I'm going to use my fingers, and I'm just going to kind of massage it in there and then squish it and bring it to a point. And I'm going to let that dry. So set that aside, let it dry. Then this is how I'm going to clean my hands because I'm in the middle of things here. Okay, I'm just kind of rubbing that off of my fingers, just like that. We don't need the piercing pad anymore, just for a few seconds. And I'm using the Hello die. So let's see, here's Hello. And I've cut Hello out of a couple pieces of paper here. What a fabulous die. I have mentioned it before, but I really enjoy the word dies. I just like what it brings to a card. This one is extra cool because it's perfect for so many different cards. Hello. How are you? Hello, sorry to hear you're feeling raunchy. Hello, happy birthday. And there's no I on it that we have to save the dot, you know? So that's always like, I'm like, oh yeah, oh man. All right, so I've cut it out of Secret C, and I've cut another one. You guys, this is the best paper ever. This is, and you're gonna see it today a couple different ways. This is the Peaceful Garden Glimmer Paper. So it's part of the Peaceful Gardens Sweet Collection in the mini catalog that just went live, was it Tuesday? Yesterday, 2 days ago? I can't remember. Anyways, it has kind of an azure afternoon, a cloud cover, and a secret sea. And you get 2 of each piece, of each color. Such great paper. Oh, ho, ho. I love it a lot. Yep, Rose, I'm with you. She loves the word dies also. So I've cut 2, just because this is going to kind of come in here, and that's okay. But I like giving it just a little bit more volume, a little bit more heft, a little bit more relief, meaning it has a stronger lift. You know, it's a little bit more. And so I always cut. Sometimes I actually have a third one cut just in case. I feel like, so this is kind of counterbalancing the typewriter. And so visually, will one layer give it enough oomph? I think so. Okay. Now I'm going to be using this Hello die a bunch today. And all of my others, I've already doubled them up, just so you don't have to sit there and watch me do that. But yeah, there it is. It already, even just in my hands, has just a little bit more lift and look to it. So I definitely like that. So, okay, thanks, Rose. It went live on Wednesday. That's cool. All right, so once your glue is dry on your linen thread, this now becomes your needle, and you don't need a needle and thread. I mean, if you were doing a whole bunch of holes, that would be one thing. But look how easy I went right through that. I mean, because this is just not a very big hole. And so now this allows me to go through. This other side is a little harder, and it was in, and then I accidentally pulled it out. Yes, I do agree with you, Kayleen. It is easy to make doubles because they've given us doubles. Yeah. But I've also made some where you do layer it up, and it is a really cool. Okay, so now that I have my linen thread kind of going behind, I'm going to bring this around, and we're going to tie a bow. Let's see. Wait a minute. Do I want the bow here? Or do I want it over here? I think I wanted it over here, and we'll just kind of slide it off to the side. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a grouping between the typewriter, the bow, and the greeting. So I'm bringing them all to one spot right in here. Okay, so I'm just going to use this whole thing. Bring this up and around, tie bow. Hopefully my ends are pretty even. But that's just kind of right there on that border. Okay, I've got to So I just ran my thumbnail over that just to take some of that crazy curl out of it. I like the curl, but I also like to be able to tie. And I want to be in control of it. Okay, so now just style your bow the way you like it. Get it just as you want it. Pick up your ends, even them out. Plus, I want to cut off that kind of crispy end that was the my needle end. And now this is just going to set right in there, okay? So this is a really easy alternative, you guys. Before we put that on, let's stamp a greeting right in here. And we could do the just a note. Let's kind of look at some of the different ones. So we have Forever Your Friend. That's cool. That fits in there. The Just a Note fits in there. And the other one, the You Are Loved, fits in there nicely as well. All right. I think I'm going to vote for the You Are Loved. I just like that. I mean, Just a Note is sweet. It's great. But I don't know. There's just something more, I don't know. It's a little more personal. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Okay. So just right here in this spot. Okay, just letting that ink really kind of pierce, get into the fibers of the paper. Now we'll add our hello. And so you can see this card is nearing completion, but this is also just kind of a simple alternative. All I've done is, not used all the pieces so that I could use this typewriter on another card and do some more things with it. But we've brought in the dies. And now this gives a little visual weight and physical weight to the right side of the card, which it didn't need, but it's kind of nice. And I love the look of this. I've got some glue right in there that I don't want. There we go. Anyhow. Now you could add gems, you could add more flecks. We can just kind of pump up some of these flowers, right? With a little wink. And then give it a little splatter. Especially on that Secret Sea base here. It stands out nicely. But talk about a sweet and simple little card and totally mailable. Right? So Kayleen says, I'm happy they all fit for a choice that doesn't always. Yeah, that's a good point. I agree. Yeah. So love this one. So our first two are done. And these were just some simple approaches, some simple alternatives using the Paper Pumpkin Kit. Now we have one more, but I'm going to turn this into a fun fold, but it is still going to be kind of a simple look using the kit. This time we're going to go for the blank card base, and we'll be using, so this piece is designed to go on here. So we're going to use that. Let's see, I've got some stuff. Got some more pieces here we'll talk about in a minute. But first what I'm going to need is I'm going to use my trimmer here, my paper trimmer. And I am going to trim off, on this side, I'm going to trim off 1 1/4 inch. So here's the 1 1/4 inch on the right side. Okay, and save this. We're going to use it. Jan, I agree. I love the typewriter too. We'll fold our card in and then back out. And I'm going to put this left side now on that 1 1/4 mark. But this time, instead of cutting, I'm going to score. So I've just given it a good score right there at 1 1/4. And so now this is going to become a fold back latch card. So I've already kind of folded it back. We're training it. And let's burnish that score line in. I'm going to lightly burnish this one. Okay. And now what we're going to do is this piece that we cut off is going to glue to this side. Okay. And this will kind of act as, it'll keep things a little bit more level. Whoops. You want to just glue it on normal. Okay. Now we're going to take this piece that, probably is supposed to go on with dimensionals all over, but I'm just going to put my dimensionals. I'm going to flip this over. Notice how I flipped it. I didn't flip it like this. I flipped it this way, and I'm going to put my dimensionals here. Kayleen, you bought 3 more packs of this? Awesome. Are you doing church cards with it? Birthday cards? Okay, so I'm just going to run dimensionals down that side. And so this will sit on this side, okay? So just like that. So you can see we're still pretty much in the style of how Stampin' Up! Has really created this card. So I'm really leaning to them. But I'm kind of doing my own thing by adding the fold, okay? But the great thing, oh, it's just your favorite kit for this year. Awesome. I think my favorite kit so far, I really have enjoyed a bunch of them, but I think I really liked last month's strawberry kit. And I don't know why, I just kind of really liked the pieces. Okay, so back on with this. Now, the cool thing about this is it's kind of a latch and we can open up and you can sign the inside. But to me, this is a place for creating more stamped awesomeness, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of open this up so that I can create this side right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring in some cloud cover ink and the background image, but I need to give it a quick clean here because it has Secret C on it. Okay. All right, so that's looking good. And I'm going to stamp a little bit of a background. And let me bring a scratch paper in here for just a second. That way we can keep this side tidy. And I'm going to just kind of stamp this. There's one. Okay, kind of hard to see where I put that. But I want you to see and do this for yourself. Take this image and now I'm going to stamp another one a little higher. But it's so easy, maybe not quite that. I'm having it step over a little further, but I was going too far over. But how easy it is to align this. Thanks to the photopolymer quality, right? But look at that. You could kind of just keep going and line that up, all right? Kind of a ticking. Okay, now I've also done some die cutting here. So I've gone back to the Circle of Season dies, and isn't it awesome when they give us a nice, a label or just a cool general shape. So here is the circle. So we've got this circle here, and I've die cut that. I've also die cut the hello. So again, that's from this package. Okay, and I've die cut two and already glued them together. This is Cajun Craze. I like the stamp too, Kayleen. I think it's really cool. Let's see, I've also got one of these from the kit. I've got a flower from the kit. And I've got a leaf. I'm wondering if this leaf is in the wrong spot because I don't think I was planning to use this leaf. Oh, yes, I was. I need two of them. So I have some backups here. I think I used one on my first card that didn't belong. So I have some extra stuff here, die cut. This is kind of how I approach. I punch out all the pieces and then I also add some more die cuts and then I just start mixing and matching and having some fun. Okay, so the leaf is also from Circle of Seasons. It's right in there. But you get the idea. This is a great little pack. Somebody asked me the other day where I got this envelope. It is not a Stampin' Up! Envelope. It is from scrapbook.com. These are 4 3/4 by 4 3/4 square envelopes, and they fit the little paper pumpkin dies just perfectly. Okay, so those are the first dies that I'm going to be using, but I want to share with you for the rest of my cards today, I'm also going to some of the dies that are found in the Perfectly Pairs. And I'm also using some Perfectly Pairs DSP for my cards today, moving on. So I just really like these little flowers. The leaf is working great. And this, what I'm calling an open weave die. So I'm using I'm getting some help from this set. They were on my desk from class last week, and I just love them. I haven't put them away. So I'm going to use them, right? Why not? Okay, let's see what we've got going here. What we're going to do, the hello is actually going to go. We'll kind of close this back up. Let's design the front, then we will design the inside. So the hello is going to go, it's going to kind of sit on the shelf here with our elements. But before I put it on, I'm going to, because I always do, I'm going to stylize it. Why? Because everything is better with sparkle. Okay. It's just important to glow, to glisten, to glimmer, to shine. All right, so there's the hello. Added a bit of Wink of Stella. Is there anybody watching who like hates Wink of Stella, who just goes, no, it's just over the top, too much, I don't do it? Which is great, because I always mention, you do you, right? How juicy do you keep your Stella? Kayleen, I just, you know me, I have a mug on my desk, and it's a big coffee mug, and there are 22 Wink of Stellas in it. Yes, you heard me right, 22, and I just refilled like 3/4 of them the other day, so they're all pretty juicy. They were feeling kind of dry, but I juiced them up. Okay, so this little piece right here that is designed to go here, I love that. So I'm going to go ahead and, you know, keep up with what Stampin' Up had going on. And so let's do the You Are Loved, because we decided, or I decided, that's the one that I really like. Or this one fits too. Let's do this one. We're going to do Forever Your Friend. Okay, so, and I'm going to stamp that. I think I'm going to switch it up a bit here, and I'm going to stamp it with Mossy Meadow. Okay, I like the Secret C, but to me there's no Secret C in here, but I'm going to, you know, maybe this is a scaled back Secret C right here, but I'm going to switch to Mossy Meadow. And so this is, I think this is the spot from last month. Forever Your Friend. I'm just going to put that right in that cloud cover stripe. Cute. I love it. Okay, and I'm going to put this on. Instead of putting it on with dimensionals, because I think dimensionals are going to be just a little too much lift, I am going to do a glue dot and another glue dot right on top of it. So these are what I'm going to call, you know, it's going to be a glue dot dimensional. It's going to give me a little lift without giving me too much lift, if you know what I mean. And I'm just going to kind of set that, bring that right in there. Get it straight. So it's not glued right to the window. It has it's coming off just a little bit. Okay. I like that. All right. So now we'll open this, and then I'm just going to kind of open this to the side so that I can design right here. And what I'm going to do, we're going to add our circle kind of right in here, and I'm going to kind of come way over to the edge, and we're going to add our flowers and things. And so I mentioned that I had done some die cutting with the Perfectly Pears. And so this is the flower from the Circle of Seasons, but these little flowers here that I'm going to use just kind of as little embellishments, this little flower here comes from the Perfectly Pears. And I'll show you which die it is. It's this little strip of 5 flowers right there. So maybe you have a little punch. That would work as well too. All right, so we've got a couple greetings to choose from. So we have Forever Your Friend, and then we're going to put either one of these. For a great friend, always here for you, whatever we want. Let's do always here for you. Whoops, knocked over all my stamps. And I'm going to ink this up. Oops, I think I probably should have cleaned it. Well, now we have Mossy Meadow Secret C. New color. And I'm going to stamp this on my circle, kind of right about there. Okay, yeah, oh, that is a cool color, you guys. It's not Secret-Sea and it's not Mossy Meadow. It's Mossy Sea. Okay, that's what you get when you don't clean. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm gonna do just kind of a little spray of flowers that are gonna come right down this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this on. We could dimensional it, but because it's a latch card, I don't want it to get too fumbly. But we'll kind of put that right there on that edge. Okay. I would like it to come further over and break this line. The problem is the latch fold. So, okay, now this here, let's do this. Let's double up the mini glue dots again. Give this a little dimension without getting it too puffy for the inside of our card. And that's just gonna kind of come right there, okay? So we're just gonna have some fun creating a sweet little bouquet coming down this page. And we'll glue dot this one as well. And I'm gonna double them up. Get a little extra lift. I'll add this one kind of like right about there. And then our leaves, I think I'm gonna glue my leaves, but same thing, I'm gonna give them just a little bit of a curl. And of course, I do this a lot, but I'm kind of not doing it today, but, and I don't know why, usually I do. I like to give these, you know, either blend a little ink on them, color a little blend on them, something to give them just a little bit more dimension and life besides just the plain old cardstock. So we'll slip that one in there. And then we're gonna do 3 flowers. We're gonna do 1. Oops, that's a lot of glue for a little flower. We'll do 1 down here, 2, and then 1 right up in here. Okay. And I'm gonna curl these just a bit. Set that there, right in that little glue puddle. Get in the puddle. And here. Okay. So now I'm just gonna kind of take my hobby blade here and just kind of smash so that I know these are sticking into that glue. And if it starts to come out the middle, just give it a quick clean. Okay, so what I'd like to do for this though is soften this just a little bit with some Mossy Meadow. Since we stamped with Mossy Meadow, here's my Mossy Meadow. And we'll just kind of soften that just a little bit. I should have mentioned this circle here, I die cut from Very Vanilla, which I really quite like. Here's more of the Cajun Craze. Okay, just a few little dots here and there. And then I'm gonna finish the flowers off with some iridescent pearl, basic pearls here. Okay, just to really give this some fun finish. So on this larger flower, I'll do a bigger one. I like these pearls because 1, they're iridescent. Whoops, sorry, whoops, dropped the lid off of that. I'm gonna use my take your pick tool, which is great for picking up these pearls. I can go a lot faster. But I like the size of these. These are really, really small. So it's just a nice, plus I like the feel of the pearl with the front of this. And so I could add just a few to the front of the card. You know, maybe just kind of pick a spot here. And then do 1 more big guy. Kind of, we'll do it up there. Okay. And as always, we'll do a little, because we can, and we'll go ahead and do a little bit of that on the inside as well. It's almost easiest just to flatten it out. To Definitely get the center of that. Get this flower. Little on these. And there we have our third alternative, which is really just kind of a spin on, you know, what they've designed, but just adding that latch fold. Okay, so, and you could stamp the inside, do some more if you'd like. In fact, it might be nice to kind of carry this pattern. In fact, right here, kind of carry it this direction and add more flowers if you wanted, just a few more. But there you have it. That is project number 3. And again, this one is just kind of taking a riff off of what they've designed. So that was pretty fast. We did 3 cards pretty fast. I'm impressed. Usually 3 cards takes a long time for me. All right, let's see. Our next card is going to be, let's see, do I have these, just kind of organizing my thoughts here. Our next card, we're going to do another typewriter card. And I have lots of pieces for this card. We're going to use the card base. So this time, I'm still doing an alternative, okay? But I'm still riffing off of their amazing design. And that is to have this, you know, so we're kind of coming right in here. Now we are adding and doing, you know, their kind of design, but we're going to kind of up it just a little bit with some of the pieces that you see here. So I've done some die cutting. And so these die cuts, okay, so the open weave, this leaf, and these little blue, these are more of the glimmer paper. The glimmer paper from the Peaceful Garden. These 3 die cuts I did with the Perfectly Pears. So I haven't switched anything up. And then I have 3 of these. These are Cajun Craze, and this is from the Circle of Seasons. So I'm just playing within those sets of you know, of dies. All right, let's stamp the typewriter paper here. And I'm going to stamp with Secret C. And this one says just a note, and I'm going to stamp it towards the top. Okay, voila, easy peasy. And we'll take the dimensionals here, and I'm going to insert the paper into the typewriter. Super cute. So just slide that, frame it just like you want to show as much or as little. I'm going to do a little bit more so that I have enough to cover that. I'm going to flip this over and add my dimensionals and hold that in place at the same time. Okay? And so that's going to go on the card just like so. But we are going to zhuzh this way up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding some foliage here. And so this piece, and we're going to cut the stem and whatnot. Let me take this one. We're going to cut this, and it's going to kind of come up through there, and then we're going to trim this one, and I'm going to trim like that. And so this one's going to kind of come up. So we're just going to kind of create a spray around here. I'm going to have to, yes, I'm going to have to trim that and tuck that in, but it's giving us, you're kind of seeing where we're going with it. I'm going to add, I love this die, but look at that, how that just kind of punches up that side. And this actually is going to come, let me put some dimensionals on this. It's going to kind of come around a little further. So we're going to pretend these are mini dimensionals, and I'm going to put mini dimensionals on the back of most of these leaves, because that will allow me to kind of put them and, you know, not only will it adhere it to the card, but it will also, because they kind of bend back and forth easily, it will kind of hold their shape. Okay, that's kind of a big dimensional for that little leaf. Okay, let's do the same on this one here. And right there. Hopefully I don't need the other ones. Okay, so that's coming in there. And then we've got the flowers. So let's anchor these pieces. Then we'll start to add the flowers in and finish things up. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on this. Or a lot of glue. The cool thing is I don't need this to figure out where it goes. I got a lot of glue. I'm gonna wipe some of it off in there as I can see from the outside. Okay. That, and we'll add our typewriter. And I now have glue all over. Okay, and then we'll align this right where it goes. Sweet. Now I'm gonna trim this off. Okay, so I'm just trimming that stem of the leaf off a little bit. And so for this, really all I'm doing is, again, I'm following cues right from Stampin' Up's design, but I'm just adding more to the flowers. We're just, if this is gonna be popped up, I'm adding more flowers, because yes, I have some from the kit, but I kind of am using them on a few other things as well. So I've got to spread the wealth. Okay. This one, I'm going to cut this one off because it's not going to show. And who knows, I might put it somewhere else. I'm going to chop that one off. Kind of bring this around out like that. Maybe just a little bit higher. Okay, yep, I'm loving that. All right, and then this one will kind of finish up this left side. So this one is kind of like that. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna take, man, I wish I had the right mini dimensionals with me because these are so puffy. All right, well, we're gonna make mini minis. There's one. Okay. You know, just when you think you have everything, you don't. I'm like, oh, I need a cleanup pad. Oh, there's always something that I forget. Okay, so see how we have this funny edge right there? Well, we're gonna fix that by just adding a flower right there. Okay, never fear. And let's add another flower. We're gonna add this one kind of down there. And then this last one, I have a gem on here already because I wanted to remind myself to use those gems. Let's see. I need another piece of, that one's too small. I'm like, oh, I cut it too small. Okay, there's that. And these are berry burst gems, and I'm gonna show you, because I'm gonna add more here in just a second. But I'm gonna add this one kind of right in there, okay? So let me show you where those gems come from. These are part of the Floral Charm Sweet Collection. Okay, they're called Charming Shimmer Faceted Dots, and they are fabulous. So you get a petal pink, berry burst, and like secret sea. So you can see any of these colors would look great on this card. So I'm gonna use the small. So I've got a small there, and let me just finish these off. Okay. Oh yeah. Kind of loving, there's a fall vibe going here. And we're gonna add some more, But first, before we finish adding this, I want to do just a little bit of stamping. And so what I want to stamp is we're going to stamp a greeting right in here. And you could stamp either the For a Great Friend or the Always Here for You. But I just like, what I'm going to do is just kind of nestle this right into the flowers right in here, okay? And kind of give a little bit of oomph right there. So we'll stamp this with Secret Sea. You could stamp with Mossy Meadow, but now that we have some Secret Sea, I'm going to go for the Secret Sea. And just kind of tuck this right there. Okay, sweet. And now we're going to kind of finish this up with just a little bit more. I'm going to add this leaf right there. We don't need this one. I'm going to set that in my tray of extras. But I have these. These are Secret Sea. And they have a little hole to poke out. That'll give them a little more character. But I'm going to add these to kind of finish up right in through here and kind of give some dimension up in this area. Okay, it just kind of finishes this and brings everything to life, I think. Just getting a little center out of there. So we'll do, you know, maybe kind of tuck one in here, there, and then this last one. I have more if I need more, but I don't think I need any more. And maybe this last one will kind of tuck like maybe even over on here on the open weave. Yeah, it's kind of pretty. All right, so we'll just kind of glue these in place. Just a little touch of glue. Okay. A little touch of glue here. And here. Hello, Kim. I know. I think the typewriter is so cool. I think, you know, both my sister-in-law and my daughter-in-law love vintage typewriters. They both collect them. And I actually have a vintage typewriter here at my house that my grandkids love to type on. But, you know, how many of you took typing in high school? We had 2 typing classrooms at my high school. One of them had the electric typewriters. The room I had did not have the electric typewriters. We had the manual and the shift key for your pinkies. So hard to maneuver for me. Okay, this one I feel like is a little stark. Okay, so again, just keeping it simple and easy. But I'm going to add some Stella to these just to kind of give this Cajun Craze flower a little bit more depth. And then, of course, we can give it a little to everybody because we can. There you go. So, keeping it simple still and having some fun with the card bases. Now, these next 2 cards, complete departure, and I'm going to use my own paper for backgrounds. And so this next card, I had some extra from a class, but this is, so Kayleen, you met your husband in typing class, and it was manual typewriters. Yep, crazy. So yeah, the knowing how to center and backspace, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, my daughter-in-law, wait, what do you do? And I go, yeah, that's how you do it. Oh, okay. So this piece of paper here, this is cloud cover, 2-tone cardstock. It is almost, it started out 12 inches wide, okay? And then I have some score lines on here. So if you're making your own, you're going to do 12 by 5.5. That's what this card is. And it is 2-tone cloud cover cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. And you are going to score it at 2 7/8. That's your first one. 6 3/8. That's your second score line. And the third is 10 5/8. Okay? So 7/8, 6 3/8, 10 5/8. Okay? So 2 7/8. All right, so you're going to fold. This one's going to go inward. Okay? And you're going to burnish that. This next one folds in as well. And then the last one will fold back. And so the cool thing is you get this center panel. Now, mine is already finished. But what you're going to need to do is yours is going to be, if you've done a 12-inch piece, that's the easiest way to do this, is to do it and then trim just a little bit off, rather than having crazy markings on the 16th rather than on the 8th. So what you're going to do is on this side right here, you're going to trim off about a 1/16 of an inch. So a fat hairline, you're just going to take this, and I would flip it around, and you'll just take and chop just a nice little, narrow sliver off of that side so that your two sides are now even. Because if you do the measurements, it's going to be out here just a little bit. So you need to bring it back. So my friend Julie and I, we were working on this layout, and that was the easiest way to do it, was to just score it that way and then trim a little off the left end. Okay? So, but it's a fun layout, and it's a fun layout for showing off two-tone cardstock. Now, I'm going to show you something gorgeous here. This piece looks oh so yummy and beautiful on this cloud cover color here. Okay? I like it a lot on this color. I mean, it's nice on the natural tone that they gave us, but I think this is even better. Okay, now watch. Here comes the next even better moment. I have die cut the word hello from the cloud cover glimmer from the Peaceful Garden pack. And I've got that die cut here. And so just like on one of those first cards, I'm going to go ahead and add that right in there. Yummy! I mean, look at this, folks. Is that not the most gorgeous blend of color? This is my happy place right here. Love it. Now, I'm going to kind of amplify everything here. I've cut the open weave from the Perfectly Pairs. I cut 2 of them from Cajun Craze. One of them is going to tuck way back in here. We're just going to have a little bit of it peeking through. And then this one is actually going to be on the inside. Okay, it'll be on that inside flap. So that's going to kind of come around and through. We're going to stamp. We're going to emphasize this hello with a little bit of stamping. And I'm going to use the greeting that says, forever your friend. Okay, and that's going to go right there. So let's do that right now. And I'm going to stamp that with early espresso. Okay. So, hello, forever your friend. I better stamp it upright though. That would not be good. Okay. And so, well, let me see where this is going to center, because I kind of want it right there with it. Okay. Just kind of right. Leave a little space. Okay. I'm just really letting this ink get into those fibers. And then this will glue right in there. Sweet. Love it. Okay, so you see the direction this is going for the front of our card. I have some of the pink, the petal pink braided trim. And I've already been kind of breaking this one down. Let's see, lengthwise, this is a pretty long piece. Let's see. It's about 26 inches long, but I was using it for last month's class. And so you can see, you just kind of pull it all apart. And so I have a piece already pulled apart from there. I'm going to use that because look how great that looks. And I'm out of my linen thread that came with the kit. And I have some flowers, so those same little flowers from Perfectly Pair. These are cloud cover. We're going to add these to the card as well. But I have a few more flowers that we're going to be adding to this card. And this is the same die cut. So it's the Circle of Season flower, the small flower. This one right here. Okay, it's still in the envelope, but I've die cut that. Well, I'm going to take it out because I'm going to show you what I did. I did what I call, I'm using designer series paper, and you can use this with just about any designer series paper. You just have to be creative. But I did my own, I colored my own flowers. Okay? So this flower right here, what I did to color this, I didn't color it at all, I cheated. And I used a piece of designer series paper. Happened to use this one right here. You can see where I was cutting things out. But if you lay this right down on the center of that flower and die cut it, okay, you get something really pretty like that. And I have a couple of these that I've done, okay? Just pretty. You can do the yellow ones. You can do right in the middle of the green, whatever you want. Just have some fun painting flowers the cheater way with your designer series paper. Okay, like I say, it works with all kinds of paper. Doesn't have to be this one. This one just happened. I told you the dies were out, so was the paper, because I was finishing up from a class. But I just think these are really, really pretty. And look how great they look with the paper from the kit. So, hello, go for it, right? Okay, so let's see. We're going to take this off and let's kind of start to construct this. So I'm going to do these two pieces here, and I'm just going to kind of dump all my elements off. So these two pieces, we kind of want them, I want them towards the bottom. That's about where I want this one. So you know what I'm going to do to hold it in place for this one? I'm just going to put a dimensional on it, okay? So, because I know I'm going to put dimensionals on my card here, so I can flip this over. All right. Well, I'll flip it over this way. So I know I already have one right there. Okay. I'm going to do one there. Do one in the middle. And a couple more. Okay. And this one's already on. And then we'll just add that. Right, like, yes, I know I haven't put the other one on just yet, but it's not going to stick to that layer. This one's going to actually be a part of this layer here, okay? So I'm going to be careful about how I add my glue. I'm going to add just a little bit of glue. Like the other ones, I was adding it, and I knew I was putting a typewriter on top of it, and it didn't need to look so great. This one needs to look a little better. Okay, let's get it lined up where we want it. Kind of like that. I just want a little bit peeking through, okay? So that's on this layer here. Okay, and I forgot to do my stamping. Maybe I can still do it. Okay, I can. Maybe let that dry. I wanted to do a little bit of stamping right in here. And so I'm going to stamp with cloud cover right on this edge. It's okay if it goes off into here because I'm going to put a piece on there that will cover that. Okay, so I'm just going to do this stamp image right there. Okay, now I can put this back on. Let's see if I can put it on in the same spot to cover up my glue. Kinda got a mess. It's okay, I'm gonna put stuff on it. You won't see it. Okay, so I just wanted a little bit of stamping just to kind of bring that to life. And now this flower, these are gonna kind of come in. And they're going to kind of be on this layer here. We're giving this a little bit of oomph. It's going to be kind of hidden, and I want to make sure they're fully hidden. Okay. All right, I think what I'm gonna do though first, just for my own sake, let me finish the front and then I'll finish this inside layer. And here's a few more of those flowers. And I have an inside layer coming here. So never fear, we'll get there. All right, it's like part of my ADD from one layer to the other. But I want to kind of get these pieces secured to the card so that they're out of my way a little bit more. Okay, I'm doing just a quick tidy up of the top of my glue. You know, when it starts to get glue all around it and it doesn't spread so well, just kind of clean that up just a little bit so that you can get these finer lines of glue. And I'm not putting glue everywhere, just in a few spots where I know it's going to tack down and stay nice and tight. Okay, so that goes there, and I'm okay with it kind of coming over the edge just a little bit. But I love it. I think it's super pretty, okay? And then we're going to do a couple flowers just kind of right in here. We're kind of giving a lot of, you know, look down here to this bottom lower portion, but we'll even that out with a little bit of our braided twine that we kind of took apart. So I'm going to do a little flower right about here, this little blue one. These are cloud cover. I think cloud cover, I wasn't so sure at first. I'm like, really? And then when I saw, then when you see it and start to use it, you're like, oh yes, this is definitely a great color. And if you know, I was like a huge fan of wild wheat. And I'm like, what am I going to do without wild wheat? Well, I'm going to do cloud cover. That's what I'm going to do. All right, and I'm going to do one more kind of right up in here. And it's just kind of, it's kind of part of this grouping, but not. Anyway, so I've got those little flowers right there. Okay, and let's see, my cloud cover ink spot. Save these, we're going to use them. They're going to go on that inside area. But we have this piece. Now, it doesn't need to be as long as it is, but that's just how long mine was because we were using it to go around full card. So I'm just going to take this and tie a bow. Okay. Style it to kind of the shape I like. And I think I have enough there to cut to do another bow for something else. Or at least a loop and some tuck, you know. Okay. So I'm just kind of giving this a little action here. And now what I want to do is I'm going to add this. I'm just going to kind of tuck it. Well, that was my plan, but I might actually end up doing it over here. Okay. I feel like my card is going downhill because it is. So I'm going to do just a little shifting. Much better. It was kind of going this way. So my plan was to kind of add that right in there, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to hold on to this for a minute and let that kind of ruminate. What a fun word. Okay, so we're going to open this and let's do a little bit of decor on the inside here. You could stamp it. You could do a little ink blending, some splattering, or all of the above. Okay, so I'm just going to take that, and I probably should have done this before I glued it, but sometimes I have to have it in place to kind of like talk to me. Here's a blending brush for cloud cover. I'll take just a little cloud cover here. And I'm just going to kind of cloud cover this side over here. Okay. Okay. Just have a little bit going there. I want it to come out a little further so that when this flap is shut, we see a little bit of it. So you just kind of come this way. I don't want it to be a rectangle. I kind of want it to be more like a backwards L. Yes, now it kind of carries over and I see a little bit more of it. And we'll bring this in and we'll bring in our little ticking stamp. So I'll be honest, I have not put to use all of the cute, you know, the teapot stamps and everything. I kind of just got to creating these and I'm like, wow, I never even pulled that one out. Okay, I'm just kind of blocking my paper off because I'm kind of a dork that way. And so I'm going to start this kind of right about here. And then we'll line it back up. And we're going to kind of bring it down a little bit each time. And I'm going to do one more, like right about, got to move my paper over a little. We're going to bring it down again, there. So we just have a little bit in that corner there. Have you guys been using the stamps and things? So we have just a little bit of that carryover into here. Okay, and I've got glue hanging out on my card that I don't want. Right there. Okay, now it's gone. I'm going to do a little bit more right here. And that is, I'm going to take the early espresso and let's see. Let's do the For a Great Friend. But I need this shut. And I have a flower here. And I'm going to kind of do another flower there. So I want it to relate. So I'm going to do it kind of, or maybe I want it, let's see, just like, because I don't want it to be, I'm going to have to cut some more flowers here, friends. We'll put that there. Okay. And then this closes. But what I want is something that kind of relates. So these are kind of going to be here to kind of include that in decor. But I think what I'm going to need that I don't have right now, and that is, I need another flower like this to the inside here, you know, that when this is shut, you don't see it, but when you open it, you do, just to kind of finish this area off. So this is going to be one of those, look for the, I will post photos tomorrow, but look for how I actually finish that off. I'm going to finish it off with a few more flowers. I mean, I'm looking at my stuff. I'm like, I just don't have those die cuts. That's the one thing I don't, I have everything, I have extras of everything else but that. Okay, so let's see here. Let's glue these in place. We know we're going to have one that kind of, it definitely relates to my open weave, but also I'm trying to create this grouping right in here. Okay, and then I have to do another one up here because I have to hide all the, I have some mucky glue right there that I'm hiding. It's not so good looking. Okay, so what I do have are more of these flowers here. And so we're just going to add, I'm going to add one here. Okay. One more. And I think this one will actually kind of bring it over to here. Part of that bringing this grouping across. Right there. Okay. Coming along, coming along. All right, so let's just give this some texture with a little bit splatter. And so for this one, I have cloud cover, my cloud cover blend, and I think we'll do Cajun. We could do Mossy Meadow, but we're gonna do Cajun. I really want a few more flowers there. They're coming. They're coming. Okay, so here's a little Cajun craze. And I just kind of drew that up where I did some blending. I didn't really come all into there, but I do want it to be down in here. I'm like, where's my bone folder? It's in my hand. Okay, and let's do the same with a little bit of this cloud cover. And we'll hit it on the inside. Cool. Well, keep these open. While this is open, let's do this. Whoops, wrong lid. And a little Cajun, just to tie it all in. And let's go back to those iridescent pearls and kind of finish things off. So pretty. Okay, now, this has been like, do we want it kind of in here? You know, think out of the box. Is it there and then we open it? Or my first initial thought was here. And maybe it's not tucked underneath, maybe it's on the outside. You know, maybe it's just kind of, or maybe it's none. Okay, help me out, folks. To bow or not to bow? Maybe you just have to kind of let it gel. Okay, so we're just finishing these off. And then this layer here will finish the big guys off with the bigger pearl. And I'm gonna actually even give these a little bit of a fluff. Even though the card kind of comes over, I like to kind of give it a little lift. Okay, just makes it a little more interesting, a little dimension. Okay, no one's gonna help me out. Where to include that? There's that. And that. Okay, and that will finish us out for, oh man, so pretty. So pretty. Okay, so do we kind of do it across? Is it up in here? I think it's a no bow. Or do we get it going? Do we kind of reshape it? And add it in there. It's a no bow. No one gave me any votes. For right now, it's going to be a no go. And that's okay. We don't have to always have it. But we do have to have this. We'll give it right here to this side as well. And there you have a cool accordion panel card. All right, center panel. Fun little layout. All right, we used this layout in my class last month. A little different, but similar. So, and I had an extra piece, so I'm like, use it up. So we're gonna stay in the same color palette because I just loved it for this next card, which will be my last one for today. But oh, is this gonna be a pretty one? Let's see here. I got lots of pieces. So this is another piece of cloud cover. In fact, this one I actually cut before the center panel one. So this has been sitting as a scrap on my desk for quite some time. But it is 12 by 5.25. So 5.5 inches tall. And then 12 inches wide. Okay, so let's see where I did some scoring, because this has been sitting on my desk for a long time and I don't remember. So it is scored at 2 3/4. This first one is at 2 3/4. The next one is at 7 inches. And the last one is at 9.5. Okay? So one more time. 2 3/4, 7, 9.5. Okay? So you're making those score lines along the long edge. And you're going to fold like this. Your first score line folds in. Your second score line folds in, and the last one folds back, but it actually tucks inside. So it's just kind of a nice, you know, it has a good feel when you open and you know, kind of pull it open like that. Then I have a, this is 4 by 5 1/4, which is what my measurement was on my last card. This one is a very vanilla, and this will be our inside layer that's going to add right in there. And I'm going to do that right now. Of course, I should probably stamp and do whatever, but I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do on it. It might be a surprise for later on. Okay, so we have some serious stamping to do on some pieces. So I have, let's see, what are we doing here? We have Spotlight on Nature. This is the largest circle from Spotlight on Nature. This is Cloud Cover. And Cloud Cover cardstock and Cloud Cover two-tone, they're a little bit, they're a little different, but they work. Someone's banging, and I don't know if it's a dog. Huh. Something's going on. I also have, sorry, there's something banging in the house, and I don't know what it is. Okay, this is just a very vanilla circle from Circle of Seasons. Let's see, I have more of the braided trim. Don't know if I'll use it. We're going to use one of the typewriters here. I have some more die cuts from Perfectly Pear and some flowers from the kit. Another flower from the kit. And let's see, what else do we have? I have a hello. We're going to use that. That's going to go on the inside of the card. So this, just kind of like the one card that we did earlier, this is the Secret Sea glimmer paper from Peaceful Gardens. Okay? Also die cut from that Secret Sea Peaceful Gardens. So this, like I said, I've been using the Perfectly Pear. There's a few stamps. So this is the bunch of little flowers. Okay? They're just the right size and feel for this particular paper pumpkin kit, I think. And let's see, what else do we have here? We have some Cajun Craze little flowers. And I have a bunch of them. Or at least, well, I have a bunch cut. I think I know for sure I'm going to use 3. Who knows? We may add a few more. So since it cuts 5, we'll pull out the other 2. Okay. And then there's one last piece that I need. Let me see. Where is it? Here it is right here. This is the paper that goes in the typewriter. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to stamp this. And you know what? I'm going to use the back of my circle here so that I can see it better, some contrast. We're going to take the image that says, "Good friends are hard to find. I'm so glad we found each other." So we're going to clean, because I've been using it, so I need to give it a quick clean here. I'm going to use Secret Sea, the little Secret Sea ink spot that came with the kit. Okay. But I'm going to do some masking, not some crazy masking with tape and everything. There is enough space in this stamp set, or the stamp image rather, that we can just isolate certain words. So I'm going to do "good friends are," okay? So I'm just inking up "good friends are." So I'm just inking up that much. Okay, no tape necessary. And I'm going to stamp that. I'm going to have to pull this down so that I can see it, folks. I'm going to stamp this right up. I'm going to center it. Okay, and I'm going to stamp that right up towards the top of the paper. Okay. We talked about typing classes from high school and how to center. Remember, counting all your spaces, dividing them by 2, then going to center and backspace, backspace, backspace. Now I'm going to do hard to find. Again, I'm not using any masking tape or Post-it note. You could, but like I say, there's enough gap in there. And now just center this and stamp right below. Again, benefits of photopolymer, right? I think what's fun about this font is while it's not a typewriter font, it kind of fits the feel for a typewriter though, you know? I like that it wasn't so literal. Now we'll do the same thing with the bottom line. I'm so glad so I'm gonna ink up that much. This time I'm gonna move to the other side of the pad because I'm stamping the bottom, not the top line. Okay, same drill. Stamp that. Okay. And then we'll stamp the last, found each other. Okay. I love changing, whoops. Okay, I think that's clean enough. I definitely got a little too exuberant. Fun word. Okay, and I'll get this last little bit. Fun, all right? I think it's fun to kind of, you know, rearrange the way the image comes, you know, mix it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just slipping the paper in. There's barely anything holding there, but we'll put a couple dimensionals to hold that in place. So I like that, using the dimensional. Okay, that's gonna go like that. And let's see, what else are we gonna do with this? All right, so we're gonna be designing kind of off to the side here. So it's gonna come over here. So let's go ahead and add our circle to the card. And I'm not gonna put it dead center. I'm gonna come up just a little bit, okay? But let's flip this over. And we'll glue this in place. Okay. So I'm just a little higher than I am centered. I am centered from right to left, but top to bottom, I've got about 3/4 of an inch on top. So just kind of, there we go. And we'll add our typewriter now, because that's just gonna go right on the circle, but we're going to bring it down towards the bottom. Okay. And it too is pretty much centered on that circle. Looking good. I think it's kind of fun. Different. All right, now let's add some interest to this piece here. All I'm going to do is take my light Mossy Meadow, and this is the bullet tip. I'm just going to kind of trace, and I'm not going to trace all of them, but you can see I'm just kind of throwing a little bit of detail here, and it's amazing. You color it and how it blends in, but it gives just a nice, subtle look. It gives us a little something to that leaf, so that it's not quite such a stark, you know, just plain cardstock. We're giving it a little depth, a little dimension, a little interest, okay? Same thing with the Wink of Stella, just painting a little bit here and there. Let's add some dimensionals to the leaf here. And woe is me, I'm still using these funky having to cut my own pieces here to the backs of my leaves, just like we did on that other card. And I'm not going to worry so much about the little guys, because they're just too little. Okay, so we'll add this. Okay. Do you guys add your leaves or your flowers first and then tuck leaves under the flowers? I like to add the leaves first. I think that's the bloomster in me. Years working in a floral shop, right? Okay, so this is just gonna kind of come up And I don't think I need one on this leaf right here. Okay, but this is just going to kind of come up the side here. Okay, and I will add just a touch of glue to my leaf. And it's going to just layer right on top of that typewriter. Okay, oops, stick down. Okay, so that's kind of where we're starting. And then we're going to use pieces from the kit. These to me are the gold mine in the kit. I love these. So the typewriter and all these extra flowers. And so we're going to add dimensionals to these. I gotta cut me some again. See, I usually have dimensionals in this little, I have this tiny little crate that's on my cart that I roll out from my stamp room, but I pulled the dimensionals off of it because I needed some the other day, and so now I'm left with none here. Bummer. Okay, got my flowers ready. I'm going to do the yellow ones first, and they're going to kind of just, I'm going to kind of just bring them up. There we go. And now we'll do the orange ones in the middle. Okay. That leaf keeps popping up. I think I'm gonna, let me lift this up a little bit. There we go. And this is going to kind of fill this spot in right here. So we're just doing a pretty spray right down the side. Okay. And then these. They're supposed to be over here, but I think I'm going to move them over. Let's do this. I'm going to take this one off. And I'll put a little glue on this one. And we'll just kind of add this. Trying to find the right angle. There we go. Angle of the dangle, my friend used to say. Then, so I have a couple of these. These are from that Perfectly Pairs. Any small little types of, I think will work great. I'm just going to kind of tuck some of them in here. And I'm just going to tuck some in here. I have a third one in case. Let's see. Here it is. Just kind of like how these really are striking. They really kind of bring things together. Really fun. Okay. So, and this could go, nope, I'm going to do it down here. So I'm just going to kind of frame that corner of that typewriter right with these little flowers here. Fun colors together, you guys. Super cool. All right. Then this one, we'll tuck this one where I had it. And can you guys hear the construction going on next door? Like, let's see if I can get that in just a little further. There we go. Cool. You guys, it is so in real life. I just, the orange and the blue being complementary colors is just so pretty on this. It just, I just really, really love it. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a little, it's a little stark. I mean, it's clean and crisp, and I'm going to change that right now with a little bit of, Here's some Mossy Meadow. Just a little. There we go. I was trying to get that side of the circle. That just softens it ever so. And we'll give it a little, we'll give these a little zhuzh. I really like this one. All right, so let's see what we're going to do with this inside flap. So with this inside flap, we're going to do some stamping. And right here, so that it's going to be, I like to do stuff that's kind of a surprise. You don't know it's there, and then you open it, and we have, you know, what I call second card front. And so let's design that second card front. So I'm going to do this piece right here. We're going to use our background stamp and some more cloud cover because it's the color that I love. It took Wild Weed's place for me. I'm going to stamp off. Okay, I'm not stamping off super hard because I do want it to show up, but I don't want it to show up too much. But I'm going to stamp this kind of right on that edge, like so. So it's just a hint of texture. Can you guys even, there it is. Just a hint. And then I'm going to do another image from the set, this floral image. Okay, it's like a stem of flowers. Okay, so we'll ink this one up. This one's going to stamp in full strength. And so my full strength, I'm going to do it kind of like right there. Okay. And then we'll do another one, but this one I'm going to do upside down. And I'm actually going to just clean that off. Okay. And I'm going to do it like right about there. Okay. So, but my circle will come in and cover some of that up. Okay. It's going to cover some of that up so that we're not, you know, we're not going to worry about it. And I think I'm going to stamp one more time. Okay. Just so I get some more of this image. And let's see here. This is going to kind of show. Like, should I mask it? I think I'm going to mask it because I want some up there. I'm just going to kind of mask that off a little bit. And then just bring this up into there. Okay. Oh, masking it was a good call. Now I have a little bit more showing than what I had planned. And I'm going to stamp a little bit more of my background now that I know where my flowers are. Stamp that off and then just bring this right up in there. Okay? So just create a cool little backdrop for your elements. And our elements are going to include these pieces here. And let's see, I do have one piece I forgot to share with you at the very beginning of this card. This piece here, this is the open weave die that I just gaga over. I'm like, man, this may end up in a lot of my projects. But this is going to come into here as well. Okay, and now we're going to use a couple images we haven't used just yet. There's a tiny little leaf image, and well, probably just this one. I'm not going to use the other. Well, I might not. We'll see. But so ink it up with Old Olive, and I'm going to stamp the leaves in kind of some weird places, and you're going to go, what the heck is she doing? But it'll make sense in just a minute. So I'm going to do some leaves right there. Okay. We'll do some leaves right up here. And then we'll do one last batch of leaves. I'm holding my finger now, right where I want it, right there. Okay. A little bit more stamping. We're going to go back to excuse me, Secret Sea, and this image that says "Forever Your Friend." I'm going to take my circle here. I think I have ink on my finger. Yep, because I'm getting it in places, and stamp this right across the bottom. Of course, let me bring this in because I have to kind of have the hello handy. This is going to come right across the bottom, just like so. Okay. Now let's do a little assembly work here. I know it looks a little strange, but it'll come together, I promise, and it'll look good. When you go to put your glue on, make sure, because we don't want to glue it down to this side, we're just going to glue the right half down. Okay? And it's going to be somewhat like that. Of course, I forgot this one. This one needs to tuck in there. So just a little glue on this. Get that tucked in. Like so. And then we'll put the hello on, and then our Cajun flowers. Because this is a little like, wow, it's pretty monochromatic right now of just, even though there's a little green, the Cajun flowers will help bring it to life. Okay, so this is the hello. This is 2 layers thick. We talked about that earlier today in this video. So I've already die cut it in Secret C and then in the Secret C glimmer paper, which with this kit looks great. Okay, there's that. And now I'm going to put a dot of glue here, here, and here. And these are where my Cajun flowers are going to go. Okay. I can see that my puddles of glue are a little bit big. So I'll just take a little, the pointy end of my take your pick tool here, just kind of squish that in the glue, and then kind of clear some of that out. Same thing. And get this one in the glue. Oh, trying to get rid of the glue. I got rid of the flower. Okay, that's better. All right, so now, whew, just like that. I love it when it's a surprise because you open it and we have a completely different look on the inside here. So kind of fun, kind of fun. So now I am going to take these 2 Cajun flowers and bring them and add them to be a part of this. Okay, so we'll add one there. And then I think I'm going to do one more, maybe just kind of tuck it right in there. Okay, that will bring this will carry over from the front, and we'll see a little bit more of it on the inside, rather than it just kind of, you know, I mean, they're okay there, but they're kind of coming from nowhere because we don't have any of the others like that. So this will finish that off nicely. Okay, speaking of finishing it off nicely, we'll open this up. Let's go ahead and let's bring it to life with our colors that we've been splattering for this card. It just softens the very vanilla, so it's not quite so stark. Whoa! Careful with your Cajun craze and Poppy Parade. You don't want it to look like a crime scene. Okay, but pretty, pretty, pretty. So now, question of the hour. Should we add gems, pearls? Do we need any of the, do we need any of the braided trim? I had planned for it. This is the one I planned for the other card and didn't use. But, I kind of don't like that. I mean, I like it, but then when I don't like these opposing angles. So that would be a no-go for me. It could be nice just right in here with the let's do this. Let's make it a little smaller. And then just make it be a part of the floral piece. Again, I think I might be like, it's a no bow. Nobody answered me last time, but I'm gonna go no bow again. So there you have it. I think we could add some pearls to this. Let's take a look at that. And maybe, you know, maybe we won't, we'll see. So it could be pearls. It could even be the shimmer faceted gems. But I'm kind of thinking no. Let's just like finish it with a little Wink of Stella. And let's get this inside. And let's just call it complete. I just think it's kind of fun. So this is really, you guys, I am loving this in person. So here is our kind of a fun fold. That was the card we just did. Let's kind of do a quick review. Here's our center panel fold. Okay, and I'm going to cut a few more flowers for right there that match these. Okay, so I'm loving these colors with cloud cover. We did, we kind of zhuzhed up their card by adding some Perfectly Pairs die cuts. Here's our latch fold card. Love the inside of this one. Super fun. And then we just did some simple variations on their card bases, because we used the pieces on a bunch of other things. And these were our first two simple variations. So those are my alternatives for today using our paper pumpkin kit from August, the Farmhouse Florals. Okay, if you missed the beginning, next month, my Upstyle class is actually a special class. So if you don't buy an add-on kit from me, pick yourself up the leaves, harvest leaves, that's what it's called, the garland kit from Stampin' Up. I'll be using that garland kit along with the Fall for 12. So, and it'll be a really pretty garland, which I'm calling a string up class. So I will see you guys next week for Mystery Stampin', and I'll catch you then. See you soon. Bye-bye.